I'm here with author and behavioral economist Melina Palmer. And as I just found out, Melina, you have a lot of credit union experience as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about behavioral economics and how it applies in credit unions?
Of course, yeah. So behavioral economics is essentially the psychology of why people buy, why they do the things they do, the choices they make, and then understanding how you can use that. For me, having a rich history in credit unions, having worked at one for 6 years before getting my master's in behavioral economics, really looking for the way that you can better communicate with people to make it more brain friendly, as I like to say. And the way we think that people should do things is often not what they actually do.
And that's kind of the crux of behavioral economics. Yeah.
Yes. And so understanding that the brain sometimes makes these illogical or seemingly irrational leaps. But if you understand the rules that the brain uses to make decisions, you can make it so it's easier for people to choose you and to do business with you, especially in a commoditized industry like we have here. Being able to really speak to the brain of somebody who might choose you and resonate with your membership is something behavioral economics can help with.
And as you said, I found it very interesting that you worked in a credit union for several years, and then you went and got your degree in behavioral economics. So can you tell us some applications, how credit unions can apply behavioral economics today?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the easiest concepts, and it's the first one I introduce in my book, is framing, which is how you say something matters much more than what it is that you say. And so one of my favorite examples of this being, if you were to go to the grocery store, you're going to buy some ground beef. There are two stacks identical. The only difference is one is labeled as 90% fat-free and the other is 10% fat. Which one do you want to buy? Do you feel more compelled to get? And around the world, I've given this talk to thousands of people. Always, most everybody says 90% fat-free feels better. You know, it's the thing that we want. Logically, we know it's the same thing, but we're drawn toward one over the other because of the way that the information hits the brain. And so there are a lot of times you might be communicating, you're talking about the right thing, it's priced the right way, it's competitive. You're just talking about it as 10% fat terms instead of that 90% fat-free. So a credit union that I worked with on a consulting basis had a rewards checking account. They were super excited about launching years ago, and the message they wanted to go with on all their billboards and everything was earn up to 1.26% APY on up to $25,000 in balances, which is jargony.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, you get in on the inside and it feels like a compelling message because you're excited about it, but it doesn't drive someone to make a change. So got to flip the frame on that and instead had everything say, did your checking account pay you $315 last year? Which you can very quickly say, no, it didn't. And hey, who's talking about that? Right?
Yeah.
You get a little bit excited, you get curious and interested. So that reframe, they didn't have to change their media buy or anything they were planning on doing. We just changed that messaging, and they ended up with an increase of 60% month-over-month checking account growth with the same media buy and everything they were already planning and launching that product.
Yeah, and that's what they mentioned, that one of the things that have made these fintechs so successful is not just the technology, but it's the way they've messaged, in the way Sally Krawcheck said, the way they got away from jargon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the kind of things you're talking about, basically, as psychology.
Right. Yeah, and just knowing that often less is more, but knowing the right thing. And really what I work with credit unions and other organizations on a lot is just making sure you're working on the right problem. What feels like is the problem is often not the real problem. So spending more time making sure you're finding the right answer to the right question. Because if you're working on the wrong one, it's just a lot of wasted time and effort.